to order. You say the mics are on all the time? Okay. So, roll call, please.
Councilmember Wiggin. Councilmember Podencourt.
Here.
Councilmember Scribner.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Davies.
Here.
And Mayor Smith.
Here.
Councilmember Wiggins is absent. Thank you.
Okay. No loitering in the lobby. That's over here, right? We're kind of having folks just come through, and if you need to use the restroom, go out that way. There's some signs.
Yes, Mayor, there is. Only because we have dispatch and police operations, so we want to keep the noise to a minimum. So if you could not use that door, go out this door, in the front door, use the facilities, and back in the same way.
We'll all work it
And no
out.
loitering in the lobby, please.
All right. Then if you stand for the invocation, Dr. Gerald Fair, Calvary Chapel. Good evening. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Father in heaven, we just thank you, Lord. We thank you for this evening. Thank you for all of our health and well-being. And Lord, I just thank you for the city council. And I pray that you would bless these members, Lord. Give them wisdom, give them discernment as they make the decisions to continue moving this great city forward, Lord. Thank you so much for the businesses. Thank you for all of the opportunity. And we just pray that you bless this meeting now. Thank you, and we praise you in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Flag. Christiane, would you mind leading us?
I would be happy to. Join me in our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, our first item is our consent agenda. These items are marked with asterisk in the program on the agenda. They're considered non-controversial, and we can take them with one roll call vote unless anyone from the audience or the council would like to have something removed for separate discussion. Is there anyone who would like to have something removed from consent so we could discuss it separately? Council?
No.
Do I have a motion to approve consent as presented?
I so move.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Scribner.
Yes.
Councilmember Podencourt.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Davies.
Yes.
Mayor Smith.
Yes.
It's a 4-0 vote to approve the consent agenda.
Audience, oral and written communications. Is there anyone who would like to bring something to the council's attention that's not on the agenda this evening? All right. First item that's not on the consent is going to be item number 5, City Clerk's report.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and council members. This is in regards to redistricting consulting services. So as the council is aware, the city of Tehachapi moved from an at-large election system to a district-based system in 2017. The election code requires that every 10 years or sooner if the initial transition was made prior to new census data, local governments use new census data to redraw their district lines to reflect how local populations have changed. The process, called redistricting, ensures that each council member represents approximately the same number of constituents. When our boundaries were initially drawn, the election code only required that one public hearing on a proposal to adjust the boundaries be held. However, since the passage of Assembly Bill 849, cities and counties are now required to hold a minimum of 4 public meetings and/or workshops. The Elections Code requires that the city redistricting be completed no later than 205 days before the next election. Forgive my incorrect dates here, I'm giving you the correct ones. So since the next election for us is November 8th, 2022, redistricting will need to be completed by April 17th, 2022. Staff has reached out to several redistricting companies, and I received proposals from 3, Bear Demographics and Research, Best and Krieger, and US Geocoder. After a thorough review of all proposals, staff believes it would be in our best interest to work with US Geocoder. They're a small outfit based in San Jose, California, and they're offering us a phased approach. This will include an initial census study to determine if our current maps are sufficient. If a determination is made that the current maps are still balanced, then redistricting would not be necessary, and the process would end at phase 1. If the study concludes and the districts are no longer meet the criteria based on AB 849, then the consultant would proceed with phase 2 and 3 listed in the proposal. So the fiscal impact to the general fund would be approximately $32,795 if all services are needed, or $1,950 if the determination is made that the current boundaries are sufficient. So we recommend that you authorize the city manager to enter into an agreement with US Geocoder LLC for redistricting services subject to city attorney review and approval.
Thank you. Is there any audience discussion? Council? Okay. So if we, no matter if they determine the boundaries are still okay, we're still going to have 4 public hearings?
No, so phase 1, they'll do that initial census survey. So they'll look at everything, and if everything looks like it still meets all the criteria, then we end at phase 1. There's no need to go on with the public hearings from there.
All right, very good. All right then, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Strickner?
Yes.
Councilmember Cogenfort?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Davies?
Yes.
Mayor Smith?
Yes.
It's a 4-0 vote authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with US Geocoder LLC for redistricting services subject to city attorney review and approval.
Thank you. Item number number 13, under Development Services Director Report, Water Entitlement Fee Update. Don, good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Jay's not feeling well, so I'm going to stand in for him.
Oh, boy. We will let him know.
Following a period of significant growth back in 2007, the City Council approved or updated part of the Tehachapi Municipal Code to provide a fee mechanism to collect funds for new residential development and aid in the procurement of long-term water supplies. So this is known as the Water Entitlement Fee. The fee was intended to allow new developers to pay for the long-term water supply, whether that be from any number of sources. By doing that, they provide an in lieu fee if they don't have water rights, or if they could bring, it allowed them to bring water rights as well. In conjunction with a major review of the city's water and sewer systems in 2019 and 20, the city updated this water entitlement fee in February of 2020. The current fee currently stands at $3,148 per equivalent dwelling unit. So that would be one home, would be $3,148 for the water entitlement fee. The fee update in 2020 also added or clarified a few things regarding the water sources and the categories that were allowed within this fee program. The water entitlement fee funds could be used for procurement of Tehachapi Basin water rights when they're available. They could be used for water entitlement fee funds, they could be used to fund city efforts to improve our wastewater recycling, when that water effort will lead to additional water supplies, and the funds could also be used to purchase a 20-year supply of water if it's available from Tehachapi County. So that would be like state water project water. We could use those funds to purchase state water project water from Tehachapi County Water District. The February 2020 fee report estimated that the most costly option was option number 3, which is purchasing 20 years worth of water. So the fee was calculated based on at the time, the cost of state water project water multiplied by 20 years. So how much water a home would use over 20 years, and then multiplied by the cost of that. It was determined at the time that number 3 option was the most expensive. As you know, the city has been purchasing water over the last year and a half, and we now have a much better idea of how much that water really costs to purchase the water rights, how much it costs. So while close to the entitlement fee value, the actual cost of purchasing the water, the water cost water rights costs are actually more now than it costs to buy state water project water. So we initiated a study through MKN and for them to evaluate these options, and sure enough, as it turns out, that the purchase of water rights is more expensive than purchasing state water project water. And so through the study, MKN came up and determined that the actual cost of purchasing water rights is $3,918 for a single-family residence or EDU. And again, those funds can be used for one of the three options that I mentioned before. We can purchase water rights, we can implement a water savings project like groundwater sustainability project, or we can import 20 years worth of water from Tehachapi Cummings County Water District, and that's state water project water. And the priority for those would be in that order. The number one priority is to purchase water rights if they're available. The second priority is to invest that money into a project like groundwater sustainability project, and the third option is to purchase state water. So the intent of this fee is that development would pay their own way. The burden of purchasing water or water rights or investing in a project would be on the developer, not on existing ratepayers. The objective is to get developers to pay as we go. As they add demand to our system, then they're going to pay for that. The fee also includes multiple options for the procurement of this water, reflecting the need for flexibility in the coming 5 years as our groundwater sustainability project is implemented. There's a copy of the resolution and the MKN report in here. I'm sure you've read that, but if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those. So staff's recommendation is that we adopt a resolution of the City Council increasing the water entitlement fee described in section 13.08.020.b of the Tehachapi Municipal Code. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from the public? Come on up. Good evening.
My name's Gary Burgess. I'm a Tehachapi City resident. As he keeps talking about buying water from the district, and the district is currently fighting the city, is the district going to get the city water or not?
That's a question I had in my mind, so let's go ahead and attack that question. Versus, would they in the future be available for purchase, even if we...
Yeah, that's why it's one of the three options. The state water project water is available. It's a variable source of water, so it's different every year how much is available. There's been no indication that Tehachapi Cummings would not sell us water. It just depends on the availability from the state. So I can't tell you how much we can buy next year or the year after that or the year after that. That's the problem. That's the unreliability of it.
And when we buy that, do we bank it?
Yes, that's banked water that goes in the ground, yeah. So the other side of it is that when you bank water, we don't need that. We don't use that. So in other words, we don't bank 100 acre feet and then pull 100 acre feet out to use the next year. That's for water to be used in the future.
Has to be available.
Yeah, as it's available, right.
All right.
So I don't know if that answers the question.
But it's still a...
There's only so many water rights available in this valley, so you can only purchase so much, and there's no more. That's it. So you got to get water after that from that water district. Are they going to give it to us?
Yeah, that's what.
Or are they going to tell us to stick it? And if they do, how are we going to supply water to the residents of this town?
Well, again, the order of priority is to purchase water rights. There are water rights available to purchase, and we are in the process of doing that. As a matter of fact, we're proactively purchasing water rights that we don't actually need right now, so that when a developer comes and pays the water entitlement fee, we can essentially sell them those water rights.
Within the last 2 years, hasn't the city been using them almost exactly what they have on water rights?
No, that's not true.
That's not true?
We have, last year, we subleased 600 acre feet of water.
The city subleased it?
Yes.
Gary, if you have a couple more questions, you've got some time.
That's all.
Okay, all right. All right, I
So
think,
we don't want to confuse the Tehachapi Cummings County District lawsuit against the city's CEQA document. The city of Tehachapi is very healthy in the water road. We have plenty of water to supply to our residents every day, every week, every month, every year. So we're not in threat of not being able to supply water to anybody. What we're talking about this evening is a mitigation fee. So the council and the public is aware we have a water mitigation fee, a sewer mitigation fee, a recreation mitigation fee that we share with the Parks District, I think everyone that builds in the county also, public safety fee. So we have a pay-as-you-go policy. So whenever somebody pulls a building permit to build a home, in this case, a resident we're talking about, then they would have to, our policy is bring the water with you, water rights if you own them, or you can acquire them. You would bring them to the city and transfer the ownership to the city. Or you pay this fee, and with this fee, so Dawn described earlier, there are 3 items that we've lined out that we could do with this fee. We are required by law every certain amount of years to look at these fees and update these fees. We just updated the park fee not so many months ago, so we're talking about the water fee now. And so with the water, the way it is going now, we've found that water rights are more expensive than they were in the past. So we want to adjust this fee up from $3,100 to $3,900, rough numbers, so that the city doesn't subsidize anyone. In case they don't bring water rights to the city, they can bring cash, and then we can go on the open market and buy water rights. On tonight's closed session, you have actually 2 in different water right acquisitions. Lots of water that we would be potentially acquiring the water rights. And so it's a balanced approach. We'll never issue a building permit for a home or a business that we cannot supply utilities to, ever, right? We want to make sure we're just above that curve, if you will. That's what we're talking about tonight.
thank you. Council comments?
I have a question.
Speaking to the mic, will you?
What happens if the state runs out of water? I understand from my son-in-law who works for the California Department of Water and Power Resources, that, like Oroville Dam is in bad shape. Well, what happens if the state runs out of water? Then where are we on that?
Right, so that's why we have our native water rights. To this point, we have not relied on state water project water for our daily demand. We have enough native water rights, that's water that's collected through rain and snow into the Tehachapi Water Basin. We have enough of those water rights to supply water to the residents of Tehachapi. And so we don't rely on state water project water for our water.
Mr. Burgess' question is a very good question, though, because as our community grows, like any community grows, your water portfolio changes. And for 50 plus years, the district has been pumping water up the hill, storing it in Brights Lake, and then banking water. And there comes a point where there's a transition. So it's been ranching and farming for that many years and more. And now there are growth pressures. And so policies, water district policies come into play. And that's the conversation we're having, right?
And then I have another question.
All right.
Is there any correlation, since we're in cahoots with the water district, is there any correlation with the Sage Ranch project in this at all, or is this totally separate?
We can't talk about that.
Okay.
Can't talk about Sage Ranch. That's in litigation, and Christina has a a conflict, so we have to stay away from sage ranch.
But I can assure you that tonight's, this particular item has nothing to do with sage. It has all to do with the city's water management in our portfolio.
Okay.
Thank you.
Christina?
So to be clear, we're not discussing our strategy to obtain water. We're talking about the fees we're going to. So I guess my question would just be that I tried my best not to do math in public, but this does seem like a pretty significant percentage of increase for about something that was evaluated about 18 months ago.
Correct.
Okay, so for folks that are listening and curious for a process, is there any more context you can provide for why this appears to be a pretty significant increase in the last 18 months? And I say that with no preconceived notion, but just just for understanding.
Yeah, I think the reason why the number is going up again is because the cost to purchase water rights is substantially more than what we had estimated 18 months ago. And the reason why it's more is because at that time, there really wasn't a lot of buying and selling of water rights until we started really pursuing that. And so I can't tell you the exact timing, but if I recall, I don't think we had purchased anything for many years prior to that. And so
this is an anticipation of growth, and this is similar to what other municipalities are doing in terms of evaluating the water rights cost, and it's gone up to the tune of close to 25%.
Yeah, when we actually started getting into it, started negotiating the purchase, they're just more expensive than what we estimated a year and a half ago.
Okay, thank you.
Michael?
Nothing.
So you mentioned earlier that, and I just want to reinforce, we've always, I thought, required any development to bring their either water rights or the cash to purchase water rights, correct?
Since
This isn't
2007, I believe, is when if you look at the staff report, when
Even prior to that, I thought
Yeah,
that was
prior to that, we've modified it, changed it accordingly, but it has been on the books for many, many years.
That's what I thought, a long, long time. So, and that's just for the public's edification that we don't subsidize the but existing residents do not subsidize projects coming in.
Right.
They have to pay their own way. Okay? That goes with landscaping and all those kind of projects in their neighborhoods, they have to pay that. So, but this kind of an interesting question Mr. Burgess brings up though, along with that, is water rights in the future. If we want to purchase state water project water, and it's variable, you still have to, when we do have that, we put it in the ground so that how many years out do we have in the ground right now, approximately?
well, I don't know what that means, what you're really asking.
What's our availability?
Right now, we don't need any state water, so we have, probably 15 years worth of state water project water in the ground that we have access to.
That's what I mean, right there. So folks don't think that we're running out of water.
Right.
We have water in the ground available right now. It's not like what you might want to, you hear around the state that we have a huge drought.
Right.
We understand that, but we have the availability of water in the ground right now. And we have probably enough for a while, But when it gets down a few years, we're going to all be off the council and someone else is going to step up. You're going to get to a point, like you said, there's only a finite number of water rights. At some point, you got to use the state supplied water and be able to treat it and use that for the future source, correct?
Yeah.
But it's so variable, you have to be careful that it's, I guess you have to bank it when you can have it so that it's available.
That's
in those
exactly
future
right. And I
years.
don't know how much you want to get into a discussion.
Well, anyway,
The beauty of city water is that it's either feast or famine. So
Yes.
what you do is you bank a bunch of water when it's in the flood years, and then you draw on that during the drought.
Draw it down.
So the beauty is that you can get a lot of water and bank all of that, in a few years, we don't need a consistent supply. We can bank it and then draw it down, and then bank it and draw it down. So we buy it when it's available, and we can use it when it's not.
That makes a lot of sense. So you have a buffer there.
Yeah.
So that you're not relying year to year on that same amount of money or water, and then they go down to 10% of what you can have, but the existing customer isn't using that 10%. They're using what we've banked.
Exactly.
Okay. I think that's a good point for folks to know. So hopefully that clarifies the question. All right. But he's absolutely right. There's a finite number, and at some point down the line, it'll get to the point where those are all used up, and any future growth will be contingent upon state water, project water being banked and used later. Okay.
Correct.
All right.
You know, the media has us all kind of in this drought state of mind here, that I was getting really conscious of even watering my plants. And Greg says, oh, we have water. But what happens if we don't get the rainfall and the snowfall that we have in previous years, and it doesn't build up in our state reserve like that?
Again, we don't rely on state water, so we don't need that.
Okay.
Just like, though, similar to the state water project, we have years where there's a lot of rain and snow here, and then we have years where there's not. So our water basin is a huge reserve of water, and that basin goes up and down as there are wet years and dry years. And so it's not like, well, the basin yield, how much water that we can withdraw as a basin is about 5,500 acre feet. If we draw 5,600, it's not going to be dry. There's over 250,000 acre feet in the ground. And so we have many, many, many years worth of water in reserve in the ground.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
Yes,
That's an
thank
important
you.
question.
Thank you. That was my concern. And I was encouraged by seeing snow up on the mountains the other day. I go, oh my gosh, there's snow. I said, yay.
In about 8 years, we'll pump that out.
There you go.
Once it makes
Thank
its
you.
cycle.
Nice and clean.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Make me feel better.
If there's no further questions, do I have a motion on staff's recommendation?
I so move.
I'll second it.
There's a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Scrivener?
Yes.
Councilmember Pokencourt?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Davies?
Yes.
Mayor Smith?
Yes.
It's a 4-0 vote adopting a resolution of the City Council increasing the water entitlement fee described in Section 13.08.020B of the Tehachapi Municipal Code.
Thank you. Thank you, Don. City Manager's Report, number 14.
Thank you, Mayor Smith. This evening, I'd like to talk to you about Aviva Program, which is an acronym for Voluntary Employee Beneficiary Association. So as I believe you're aware, when you separate from the city, retire from the city offers no medical, dental, vision, no sort of health care at all. Some government agencies do, some don't. Some private companies do, some don't. We do not. And so several years ago, we researched a program, as the council's aware, we made it available to employees. It's called Viva, and it's a voluntary employee contribution. So the employer, the city of Tehachapi, does not contribute any money to this. It is an IRS recognized trust, so the employee can voluntarily contribute part of his salary tax-free to this account, and then it can build over time. It's not money the city holds, it's a private investment firm. And then when you separate from this, actually you could use it today for medical expenses, but primarily it's designed for medical expenses after you retire. So at the city, there are some programs where you can retire 50 to 62, and you know that Medicare, Medi-Cal doesn't kick in to 65 years of age. You can buy COBRA from 1 to 18 months after your separation from the city. and then you have to pay for your own health care expenses or pharmacy or co-pays, all of those sorts of things. Recently, we were notified the legal world has a new interpretation of some new IRS guidelines for Viva programs. The IRS now says that the employer, the city of Tehachapi in this case, must contribute towards the program. If the city does not contribute towards the program must be dissolved. I would hate to see the benefit go away because employees are managing their future without tax dollars, right? And so we've been discussing, Hannah and Christy and I, along with the legal team, what would be appropriate. And I'm suggesting that the city of Tehachapi would contribute $10 per month, per payroll, per pay period, towards this program so the program can stay alive. Not all city employees are in this program. Our Public Works Union and our Police Union would have to opt in if they would like to. They did not opt in originally, so they're not part of it now. So it is miscellaneous employees at this point. We have a total of 68 employees full-time. If every employee opted in, it would be $17,680 per year annually at our current employee level. So I recommend, obviously, that we contribute $10 per employee per payroll to keep the program alive so that the employee can continue to manage his future medical expenses. We could never afford to provide medical for retired employees. So my recommendation is approve a resolution approving employer contributions to the California Government Voluntary Employee Beneficiary Association Trust and be responsible for the administrative expenses, which are an additional $2,500. And we had been paying that already, quite frankly. Thank you.
Thank you. Any public comment? Council comment?
And I think I asked Greg this afternoon, but how does it become a trust? When I think of trust, I think of a personal account, like for myself. So how did they develop a trust for?
There's a private company, and I'm just looking, maybe Hannah knows it off the top of her head, the name of the company, and it's probably in the report, but she's been.
The name of the company is Viva, and they are the administrator, and they handles this individual employee's money in the trust. So it is kept separately per employee. So each employee has their like a account with the trust. So that's how it gets tracked.
And the trust it's a private company, and many cities and counties utilize it. This is not just Tehachapi, it's all up and down the state.
Okay, so if I wanted to get that money when I retired, it would be accessible to me as a single employee, and I don't have to.
Yes. They actually have a little debit card that they've issued employees, and you're responsible, but you can use that debit card for pharmacy, co-pays, medical expenses as you're an employee, actually. And then when you retire, if you choose to buy insurance on the open market, that would assist you with that too.
Interesting. Okay.
And it's your money. It's never the state's money. It's money that you've earned. It's part of your salary, and it's pre-tax, which is also a nice thing. It's an IRS program. Not IRS program, it's IRS allowed program.
So it's easily accessible to that employee.
Correct.
That's what I was wondering.
Individual. We don't have anything to do with it. We just simply, through payroll deductions, and then forward the money to the particular trust.
Great. Okay, thank you.
So merit of this program is not so much, the city's portion is very minimal. The city is just contributing in order for this program to stay alive. Because a lot of employees depend on this program if they wanted to retire prior to 65. Many of them, they do because of the fiscal constraint or whatever the reason. But then a lot of times they have to buy insurance through COBRA or outside the market. And as you know, the price of the insurance are quite expensive. And so a lot of times what employees do is, as a group, they agree that they will have the, final termination day, either by the retirement or when they quit. They have accruals, such as vacation, sick. Those accrual hours, just those two, are the only qualified, the accruals can go into this Viva program without paying any taxes. So city is obligated to pay employees to cash out their accruals at the end of their employment with the city. And it's a mandatory, city has to take approximately over 40% of taxes out of their accruals. And employees are saving that money, and it is allowed by the IRS. So just to help employee to keep their money and tax monies and help them to be able to retire a little bit earlier than 65. And a lot of agencies, I believe that there are like 28 agencies on this particular Calgo Viva program at this point. There are other similar program is out there too. So, and as of now, a lot of cities are opting out providing retirees health benefit because it's very costly. This can be very, very life-saving for many employees if they wanted to leave prior to 65. So.
And I failed to mention, even if you retire at 65 or 70, you still have to pay a certain amount of your Medicare, right? You can use this program, your money, to pay your Medicare monthly premiums. So it's a really great program. And the bottom line is, if the city, the employer, does not contribute, the program, by law, must be dissolved.
Interesting. Okay, thank you.
Anyone? Michael? All right. Thank you very much. So, entertain a motion for number 14 as presented.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Scribner?
Yes.
Councilmember Copeland?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Davies?
Yes.
Mayor Smith?
Yes.
It was a 4-0 vote adopting a resolution of the City Council approving modifications to the existing California Government Voluntary Employee Beneficiary Association Trust and being responsible for administrative expenses.
Thank you. City Manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor Smith. I'd like to say thank you to the Tehachapi Police Foundation for the successful trunk or treat downtown. I was talking to the chief, it went really well. And also trick-or-treating in and around the city was really well attended. Lots of kids running around, no safety issues that we're aware of. So everyone had a good time, and all the kiddos were out, grabbing candy that their parents could snag from them later on. But it was a good time, so thank you to the Police Foundation for that. And then Veterans Day obviously is November 11. We're very proud of our vets. And Tehachapi Valley Recreation Parks District is hosting a Veterans Day celebration in Central Park. We're going to be closing, is it Mojave? Mojave Street, thank you. And there'll be some festivities in the park. I know Christina Scribner will be singing the national anthem, flag raising ceremonies, and different things. What time does that start, Corey?
What time?
10 in the morning sometime.
Raising the flag at noon, maybe? Is that the plan? Okay. So come early. Lots of people, lots of events, and honor our vets. I want to thank all of the vets that are past and current. So thank you.
That's it on your report?
Yes, thank you.
Christina, anything this evening?
And I think folks will probably want to gather around 10:30, and I think 11 is usually 11 o'clock.
Okay.
11.
Thank you.
Day of the month. But I think 10:30 is good just to be there to catch all of it.
And the parade is when? At 10? Or?
I'm not sure there's an actual parade. We're closing the street in front of Central Park.
Let me check.
Yeah, I don't believe so, yeah.
So it's a celebration.
Yeah, we have a Memorial Day parade, but the Veterans Day is a celebration.
All right. Michael?
No, just a lot of positive comments about trunk or treat and everything that went on. A lot of positive things from my neighbors, and we buy a big bag of candy and didn't have very many, so I have a supply of candy to last me now. So
You can bring it to my house.
yeah, my grandchildren came over and I went through their bag just like my mother used to go through mine. I didn't like it, but hey, that's my payback for what my mom did to me. So. But a lot of positive things going on in town, hearing a lot of things going on. So just hopefully get some weather here. I wore my snow tie tonight thinking maybe I could jinx it a little bit, but we'll see. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. John?
Oh, I just get excited going around town and seeing the improvement in the roads and the striping. And I went down Snyder Street and I said, did they make this street wider just by adding curbs? And they need to do it on the north side between Mill and Oakwood. But it looks wider to me. It looks very accessible, wider. They're on the home stretch. They're putting in the driveway entrances into the alleys now. And it's just, it's beautiful. It's looking really good. And it looks more city-like, school-like, and safer, actually. I think it looks just the whole layout looks safer for traffic. Once they get the striping in, I think it'll be great.
So Jay, thank you for those comments. Jay and Dawn headed that up. We used some grant money and a lot of general fund money, and we're putting it to good use with brand new streets and roads. So it really does look nice. So
Well, see it
thank
down-
Jay and Dawn and their teams.
Yeah, 2 days ago going down, Green Street and downtown, they've done the striping finally on the parking spaces, thank God, and it looks wonderful. I mean, it's really looking good, so I'm excited.
Is that it?
That's it.
I think that's it too. And just many more streets next year. We're going to do that all over town.
Plan is in June and July of next year, using general fund money again with some grant money, and we have several streets, and when we bring that to you, we'll announce it, but we have big plans.
That's what I want to hear. It's what I've been wanting to hear for a long time. So that's good. That means we're healthy and we can do it. So,
Right.
all right.
Very good.
All right, with that, then we are going to go into closed session. Anything that's action taken or to be announced will be in this room.
We're going to go right through to that, and we can announce in the lobby.
Are we staying in this
No,
room?
we're going to go into the Chiefs Conference Room.
All right, so you folks can stay here if you want to hang out, and we'll announce any action when we're done.